But there goes the championship hopes out the window. I guess the experienced lot takes it all in the end, doesn't he? The Grand Prix was amazing, don't get me wrong, and hats off to the lad. He managed to swim his way down from the Amazon from 17th to 1st in what seemed to be the worst Category 5 hurricane we've ever seen. At least judging by the sheer number of offs during the race. It seemed like there was less grip out there than hair on Vettel's forehead before the transplant. Then again, maybe it's not a very good metric to measure by in this case. Especially considering Stroll was the first one off in the first couple of corners of the fucking formation lap, mate. Yeah.
I've seen Lance coming around on the outside. Are you just disappointed by the fact he just turned in on you?
Yeah. I don't know what he was doing really. He obviously didn't learn from Friday, but he doesn't seem to learn with anything he does, so...
In any case, what seemed to be true for sure was that the younger the driver was, the more likely they struggled in these conditions. I mean, the old farts did not seem to fare too well either, but the typical performers like Babyface Norris, George Woody Russell, and Mr. Not This Saturday over here, these lads were really struggling in the rainy conditions. Whether it's a lack of experience or expertise, or maybe their car was just shit, or they didn't even drive anything that qualifies as a proper F1 car, it doesn't matter. Because the point that I'm trying to make here is not that experience equals good performance in the rain. I just want to make that clear because I can already hear you fucking throwing that wrapper on the ground and reaching with your greasy fucking fingers to your keyboard, wanting to comment another bullshit accusation along the lines of Dion being a stupid cunt again and not knowing what he's talking about. Number one, it's best you stop stuffing your face with those crisps, mate. Your elevator has a fucking weight limit, remember that. Secondly, this is not my point here. Why I'm even mentioning this is that it pushed me to thinking that there actually aren't a lot of experienced drivers on the grid. Or more specifically, older drivers. Yeah, we got a few fucking pensioners sticking around way beyond their expiration dates, but other than that, and a few other almost rotten corpses, the rest of the grid is just a bunch of young bucks. Either fresh... not again. Either fresh out of high school or young enough to have developed a scrolling addiction on Instagram. Or, God forbid, fucking TikTok. I would put here a relatable TikTok joke, but I have no fucking idea what goes on that devil's platform. I should be told I've never had a TikTok account. I'm sorry. Not out of choice, rather because I just have a 10-year-old Samsung and it crashes every time I try to install it. I'm still saving up for a BlackBerry. Anyways, my point is, there's a bunch of fucking kids. Not fucking kids. Oh, for fuck's sake. I've done this before. The grid is very young, okay? And I think it's only getting younger. But why is that? Wouldn't older drivers be more experienced and therefore give better results to the teams? I don't know. I guess you're going to have to find out. Truth be told, I have no fucking idea, mate. But the more I watch F1, the more it reminds me of a fucking weekend daycare. This shift in drivers becoming younger is to me clearly not a purely F1 phenomenon. In fact, I would say a large part as to why most of the new drivers in the sport haven't even held a race in their life yet, not for the right reasons anyway, is because most of these fucking kids start early as well. Like some of these nut jobs starting their karting career before starting fucking skill. Like that's the priority some of these parents have. First get the kid behind the wheel of a motor-powered death trap on 4 wheels, surrounded by a bunch of other immature tadpoles, having only recently upgraded from a drooling, crawling mess to an unstable 2-legged stance and an IQ of a Neanderthal. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more f***ed up it seems. But it's true. The more these fucking kids start early... Okay, that just sounds so fucking wrong. That sounds so fucking wrong. Honestly, Dion, just shut the fuck up. I should just stop talking or I'll end up with a fucking federal case on my hands. Also, it's in some part a conscious decision made by the gods of F1. Like, for sure. And it makes financial sense as well. I mean, in this decade, the number one objective of the sport has been to attract as many fans as possible. And it's quite clear that they've been very successful at that as well. I mean, judging by the comments on some F1 posts, there certainly doesn't seem to be any IQ threshold you have to meet. Jokes, of course. I'm kidding, man. Jesus. I am just a bit butthurt that I now have to sell both my car and my kidney to go see a race in person. Come on, am I supposed to take a fucking bus to the race or what? But what it has also meant is that they had to be pretty targeted with their marketing strategy, trying to cater towards big audience groups that they hadn't attracted before. And one of those is the younger generation. The regular mindless children you see shadowboxing like his last name is McGregor hanging upside down from the monkey bars in recess. Okay, I take that back. That's the typical F1 audience. But now F1 is also trying to attract the ones next to the monkey bars, placing a phone on the ground and trying to recreate a stupid fucking dance they saw one of their favorite furry influencers do at the playground. Okay, I'm starting to make it out like I'm going past these children in kindergartens all the time. It's not the case. I promise you, it's not the case. Please don't lock me up. But one way to attract these brainless larvae is to try and match the age of the F1 drivers with their favorite influences. So getting more underage kids into the sport. And to be frank, it really works well for F1 overall. I mean, call me a fucking Lando fanboy and a typical British dick rider, but for all I care, Lando was the fucking funniest personality in the sport back in 2019, 2020. He was the guy that held this fucking sport together when the sport caught a fever and went on sick leave for a bit. Like, seriously, I'm dead serious. And it's actually starting to make sense why the FIA is starting to ban cursing from the sport. I mean, how else are you going to land those new Lego and Kinder sponsorships? And also, I mean, the younger the drivers are, the prettier their girlfriends are going to be as well. And for the amount of time that F1 producers tend to show them on screen, they best be good looking. And I mean, I'm sure Alonso can still get full home runs like there's no tomorrow, but he's just more shy and private about it all, I guess. The young bachelor. And Lewis, well, there hasn't been much action, has it? After the last one left, it's been pretty empty, not gonna lie. Another thing about younger drivers, they're just a lot more fucking, aren't they? I'm missing a whole fucking noun in that sentence. Like the whole, I literally just wrote, they're just a lot more fucking, aren't they? It was meant to say lively. Sorry. Ultimately, if we've learnt anything about the sport in the past few years, is that it's just one big fucking spectacle, ready to do anything to keep the spark from going out. So getting a few more fresh faces on the grid doesn't seem so far-fetched, does it? I mean, they started a fucking Keeping Up with the Kardashians TV show a few years back, about to release their 7th in a row. 7th fucking season. Breaking Bad ended on 5, and at least that one was honest about the substance abuse. Alright, I should start piping down at this point, or this video will be getting to podcast territory. And God forbid someone thinks I'm replicating a Joe Rogan episode here. I don't want this video to be unsearchable. And all in all, I think it's pretty clear at this point. It's quite evident that in recent times there has been a certain trend in F1 where younger drivers are more favoured for entry into the sport. And it really is no wonder. I mean, the Verstappen story has made many parents take Jos as a great idol figure for some fucked up reason, deciding that the best thing for a 4-year-old boy's development is to put him behind the wheel. Considering the odds of that boy actually growing up to be the next Max Verstappen, I think it would be smarter you taught him how to drive a fucking truck instead of a go-kart. But you can only wish for so much. Oh, and getting a bunch of young, fresh faces into the sport has also done wonders in attracting the younger audience as well. I mean, I think the recent entry of Ollie and Kimi onto the grid alone will get truckloads of kids into the sport. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's enough. If this video isn't flagged for pedophilia, I will be fucking amazed.